Hello, it's me. I'm back again doing this, whatever it is I'm doing on the internet, on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. So back in blimey, nearly a year ago, I created this page. So is it over a year? I don't know what date thing anyway, let's have a look. So on my website, this is the back end to my website. I created this page called TC DnB Academy, which is basically a free resource for anybody who wants to learn how to make drum and bass. And there's loads of stuff in here, and periodically I kind of come back to it and I edit it. I might just change this here now, actually, put in the correct date. What is it? 28th of May, January, February, March, April, May. Does anyone else have to do that? Count on their fingers. 28th of the 5th. So on the 6th of the 1st, 2024 is when the page was created. And there's loads of stuff on here. So there's, if I just briefly go through the overview, we've got frequently asked questions, making a drum beat, software synthesis. I could do an introduction, So that's something to put into the... So on the page, I've got a section at the bottom. It's all very open source. You can actually email me and just don'tplayrecords@gmail.com and send me suggestions for new topics or anything you want me to add, and I will endeavour to try and add stuff to the page. So an introduction would be quite good. That would help with my SEO, I think. So introduction to the page and what it's about, when it was created, and why. So yeah. So I got sidetracked anyway. So there's loads of stuff on this academy. Frequently asked questions, making a drum beat, software synthesis, EQ types and usage, learning the frequencies. Let's put the in there. And then let's find it and change the title. Software synths, EQ. I'm doing edits already. Learning the frequencies. There we go. Learning the frequencies, dynamics and compression in DnB. What is loudness? I'm going to hit publish as well, because why not? Dynamics and compression in DnB. What is loudness? Sub bass in DnB. Structure of DnB tunes. Key. The end of the tune matters. Spectrum analysis in music making. Mixdowns, mastering, vocal chains, submitting music to labels and DJs, bootlegs, self-releasing and dub plates, data management and making music, operational security, OPSEC. Come on, OPSEC. And then there's suggestions and changes, disclaimer, contribute to the page, sign up to the mailing list for more. So the mailing list is at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I probably should have... Is there a sign up? Does that take you down to there, does it? So I just wanted to add, just sort of continue to add stuff to this page. There's a lot going on in my mind actually at the moment, but just thinking about, I should probably be live streaming this next time, so I might do a live stream of when I'm doing this kind of stuff, so I can interact with the people then. So I'm just going to read through it the idea that I had was I could do like an editing video of this, and then a proper read through, so that I could actually put a video of me reading through the page onto the page. So I guess adding an introduction would be really good at the top, and I've got here on the save sections, I think I can add Academy section. There we go. So let's move that up. I want to try and get a bit of SEO into this. Hello. Welcome to the TC DnB Academy. This is exclamation mark. This is a free resource created when was it created? On the 6th of the 1st. On the 6th of January 2024. During a deep depression. I can't put that. It's not actually true. I wasn't really like clinically depressed or anything. During my downtime. The idea behind it is to have a complete guide to starting out making DnB. Drum and bass music. Please excuse my typing, I am not the quickest. I'll probably speed up as we carry on through this, but I want to spread the knowledge. I have gained over many years in music making. I started out, I don't need to put like I don't need to put a history in there. I also don't want to I don't want to go over everything that I've said before, but I do want to like have a bit of an introduction. Because when it goes into like how to make DnB, it immediately gets into the technicalities of it. I suppose I can make that into, I don't know what I've got here. Oh god. Is it just bold? So we just do it in bold? Is that what it is? I think so. I don't know if I'm making this any better or worse, but it doesn't really matter. I want to spread the knowledge I've gained over many years making drum and bass. There is so much information out there on the topic. No, actually, I was getting something. I want to write something about how many DMs I get from people asking me how to get into making drum and bass. I receive many DMs on a weekly basis from people asking me questions on how to get started. And many technicalities. I can't spell, I just have a go and then let the spell check do it for me. How to get started making DnB and many technicalities when it comes to production techniques. In order for me to not have to write the same DM over and over and over again, I came up with the idea of putting all my knowledge in one place for everyone to share. I got this other idea of doing a page like this, but just specifically for some plugins and bits of equipment, like the EMU E6400 Ultra. And about 5 people are going to go on there. The complete guide to the EMU E6400 Ultra. I could put a little donate button on there, couldn't I? Is that beggy? I don't know. I'm not too bothered. I really hope that the information contained within brings you much joy and fulfillment. That's not cool. Contained within helps you in your journey as a DnB producer. There's so many things that I could write about, like other stuff. Whether you are planning to become the next big thing or just making tunes to play to your mates, I wish you the very best. Good luck and enjoy. I'm not sure if that's like the best introduction. Hello, welcome to the TC DnB Academy. This is a free resource created on the 6th of January 2024 in my downtime. I feel like the phrase "how to make drum and bass" would be good to have in here somewhere. On how to /DnB. Just from a, I don't know, I don't want to be too contrived, but having a bit of SEO is a good idea. The idea behind it is to have a complete guide to starting out making drum and bass music. I want to spread the knowledge that I've gained over my 25 years of over my years of spinning around the sun. Making bangers. Making tunes. I've made some fucking terrible tunes. I was going to do a social post about it. I have made a lot of shitty tunes. I receive many DMs on a weekly basis from people asking me questions on how to get started making DnB and many technicalities and the technical aspects of production when it comes of DnB production. When it comes to production techniques, that doesn't work either. Yeah. In order for me not to have to write the same DM over and over and over again, I came up with the idea of putting all my knowledge in one place for everyone to share. I really hope that the information contained within helps you with your journey as a DnB producer. Whether you're planning to become the next big thing or just making tunes to play to your mates, I wish you the very best. Yeah, that's nice. It's not perfect, but it'll do for now. There is some kind of an introduction. Follow me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There we go. Nice. Publish that. We can change the edit date now because I already did that. I don't need to see when you've done it. Alright, let's look at what else there is. If I've not done kick sub-bass relationship, that's like quite an in-depth thing to add. Why do I need studio monitors? Use of automation to create movements, sampling, useful resources. PRS, MCPS. We could do PRS, MCPS. I might just read through it actually and just see where I'm at. Let's have a drink. How do I get started making DnB? I get a lot of questions about how to start making music as a complete beginner in DnB. So I thought I'd put all the thoughts on paper. About how to achieve some progress in your musical journey. How to start making music and about production techniques. From complete beginners to more advanced producers in DnB. This is not fun viewing. I thought I would put some thoughts on paper about how to achieve. So maybe just say like, I get a lot of questions on how to start making music and about production techniques from complete beginners to more advanced producers. This page is here to help you achieve some progress in your musical journey. Or simply to inspire you to make some or simply to inspire you to get into production? I could definitely make yeah, I've had another thought about another topic that could be quite good. Making music is long. Another topic could be interesting is, why is my music not as good as others? And you could talk about the fact that all music is subjective, but yeah, all music's subjective. So like, different people like different tunes, and some tunes don't need to be produced to the absolute maximum because they still have an effect in the dance, which is what it's all about. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's try that topic. Having an effect in the dance. Why the club? Why testing tunes in a club to an audience is necessary. I cannot spell. I don't know if you knew this about me, but I heavily rely on spell check. Yeah, that's a good topic. I like that one. Let's publish that. I had some questions from a guy actually the other day in an Instagram DM. I'm just looking at it now. Just going to try and find it. There was a guy who was in college, and he sent me some questions. I get it quite a lot actually. Where is it? Yeah, okay, yeah. So these are about like mixdowns. He said to me, it's DnB Music 123 was the Instagram handle, and he goes, "Hi TC, I hope you're well. I'm currently at a university student working on a research project focusing on mixing and mastering in drum and bass. I put together a small questionnaire that should take no more than 3 minutes for you to complete. Your input would be incredibly appreciated and a huge help to my research. I love your work. Keep doing what you're doing. Best regards, James. Here are my 5 questions." So his questions are as follows. What stage in the mixing process do you consider most important? My answer to that was, I mix as I go. A lot of times I find myself turning down all the channels to make sure that the final is not clipping. Number 2 was, which tools do you rely on most during mixing stage? And I put my ears and the RME Digicheck analyzer. Then he says, which element of the mix do you consider most critical? For example, drums, bass line, or leads? I said overall balance, minimal EQ, the less plugins the better. And then number 4, he said, how do you ensure clarity and separation in your mix? And I said by using good source sounds. And then number 5, which stages or tools in mastering do you consider most important? And I said linear EQ, clipping, and spectrum analysis. So that's the kind of stuff that comes up quite often in DMs. A lot of times just recording your own stuff. Have I got a thing on recording your own stuff? Drums, bass, effects, vocals. And then is that where the magic happens? I'm so used to with my other text editors, when you put in brackets, it automatically brackets the other side, because I use a lot of code editors to do a lot of my writings. Alright. So I don't know if there's anything in there. Which stage of the mixing process do you consider most important? Which tools do you rely on the most? I've definitely got some stuff on tools in there. I've got some stuff on, I think I've got a Mixdowns bit in here. We are looking, yeah, Mixdowns. Let's go look for that. And let's go and see if there's anything I can write or rewrite. Spectrum analysis, Mixdowns. What is a Mixdown? A mixdown is the final blend of volume of all the tracks in your tune with some tweaks to EQ, placing things in the right space. With experience it will get easier. The great thing is that you have as many chances as you like to nail it. Many producers. That's quite interesting actually. Man, I heard this thing with a mate of mine was working with Skrillex on tunes for that last album that he did, or the album before, not the one with like 50 tunes, but an album that he did. And it was the one before. And like the tune that he was working on with Skrillex was on version like 53. So I could put that in there. Not that Skrillex is a drum and bass producer, but it kind of gave me inspiration to be like, okay, so just because I'm on version 15, it's okay, just live with it. A mate of mine was working with Skrillex on one of his albums, and he had a tune which was on version 53 or something like that. And it gave me inspiration WHII, which was on version 53 or something like that. Something that it's okay to have many versions of tunes as long as you are working in the right direction. A lot of people say they hate mixdowns. For me, I think it's one of my favourite things to do. I do like a good mixdown, I'm not gonna lie. In the journey to perfection. I am the least perfectionist producer. Most of my tunes from back in the day were just like, yeah, that'll do. It means that you're close to a finished tune, or at least one that you could play out as a dub plate. And that's got to be a good thing. Yeah, it's pretty good. Don't overthink it. The magic is in the blend of all your ideas. That's true. If you have really good source sounds in your tune, your tune will mix down easily. That's true. I mean, if you've got, I said that to that guy. I could elaborate on that. I love to record my own sounds instead of using sample packs. They have a personal quality. To them, which is magical. It really is magical. I think people can really feel and hear when you are using original sounds. Okay, yeah, this is cool. I like this. I was thinking that it wasn't going to be easy to do this, but I think it's alright. I've got half an hour to carry on doing this. I love just sort of doing a little bit every now and then. Alright, mixing as I go. At this point in my DnB music journey, I'm mixing as I go most of the time. It's kind of big up me, isn't it? It's not really helping, but when you've made a ton of tunes and you know what you're going to need to do to each one, that doesn't. At this point, yeah, I'm kind of just bigging up myself. So I'll leave that there, but I'm going to just rewrite that a bit and say given what's going on there? It's doing that weird paragraph thing. Still in heading 2. We just want paragraph. There we go. So I've been making tunes for 25 years, so I'm pretty sure of what I am doing while making a tune. So I tend to mix down the tune as I go. This is not necessarily this is not always the case. I mean, sometimes I got like tunes from 10 years ago that I bring up and just mix down again and it works. So this is not always the case. And if you don't have a great deal of experience, you might not know where things should sit in the mix. Having a good reference tune to A/B is a good idea to keep perspective in the balance of your mix, as in drum level, bass level, drum level, comma, bass level, and etc. Also, just going with the feeling of the tune. Yeah, that's a good idea for another topic. Goosebumps. When you get them, don't forget it. And don't listen to your tune too many times. Yeah. Alright. Mixdowns. There we go. There was that really good bit of advice as well that I saw, where if you just imagine that you've got 2 hours before you have to DJ and you just need that one tune or edit and just get it done, it can be massive just to like make it happen. So let's say that most of the time I am just trying to make a tune playable in a set, making it happen. Playable. I saw a really good bit of advice on this topic in a reel on Insta, where the guy said, imagine you have 2 hours before you have to play a DJ set to 10,000 people, and you need to finish the tune to play in the set. this will change your decision making process. When it comes to a mix stage. That's almost like a topic in itself. So at this point I've been making the journey mix as I go all the time. You've made a ton of change, you know what doing, yeah. Probably something a bit more about no, I think that's good. Publish that. Getting organised. Like personally, I find the project I'm working on, getting the project I'm working on organised really helps with mixdowns. That's not necessarily true. I don't really do that, but I think it's a really good idea for like new producers to be organised. I knew this one guy that would literally have icons and like everything was coloured correctly and all that in the range page, and I guess to get around the tune it does simplify things, but you've always got a solo button so you can just solo stuff and go, oh, that's what that sounds like, and you kind of get a map. But I guess if you're working on multiple tunes at the same time, having everything organised means that you can quite quickly find things that you want to change. Yeah, renaming tracks, having your own naming conventions will help finding an element quickly. Colouring the tracks, putting the tracks in order, drums at the top, next is bass, music effects. I usually have bass at the bottom. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that either, because some of the old tunes back in the day, so I should read that out really. Does every track make sense? Question mark. I say, I feel that every track in the mixdown should make sense when in solo mode. And I guess in the current times that's true, but if you listen to old multi-tracks of like old rock tunes, there's stuff in there that does not sound good, but when it's in the mix it sounds amazing. And I find actually with 32-bit DAWs they're a lot different to 64-bit DAWs, and you can get away with a lot shitter sounding things that kind of amalgamate. And especially when you're using old samplers, you might just have like this little saxophone thing that goes like just before the drop, and it adds something just like incredible that you wouldn't work in like a much cleaner environment. There will be some tracks that are kind of supporting other sounds of other tracks. They may not have to make sense without the context of the related track, but in general, if every track makes sense, it will make for a much more coherent mix, and I guess that does make sense. On the flip side, there are some multi-tracks of old rock songs where the stems, when soloed, when played on when played individually sound terrible, but just all work in the context of the song. I feel this worked more in the days of tape recording and even 32-bit DAWs and samplers. Because in the world of 64-bit DAWs and 32-bit floating point, we are at a stage where everything is so clean that the individual parts need to make sense. Is that part of the magic of making music, though? You know, is that the way that you're supposed to say there? THE possibly apostrophe in solo mode. Yeah, that'll do. Let's publish that. I tell you, the next bit is about space, and I always felt like Dimension. I guess from his name, I always felt like Dimension had really good space in his tunes. It was like everything had a place in like the musical, in like the sonic landscape. Space. Reverb and delay for music is like light and lenses for a filmmaker. I mean, that is true. I don't know if it's like light and lenses, but it's like light because it's like, what are the sounds bouncing off? Like if I'm doing this in a room, it's almost as if I'm holding a torch up and the light is kind of bouncing off the different surfaces and whether they're reflective or not. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I would say almost the lenses are your converters, your AD converters, your DA converters, and I guess even like the mechanics of the way that the DAW is doing the mixdown within the DAW, or whether you're doing it on a desk or whatever. A film with bad lighting and crappy lenses, no matter the quality of the writing or the star power of the actors, will not be the film it could be. Yeah, I guess the same is for mixdowns. Good choices of space for each sound in a mix is key to that glue that people go on about. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the glue thing recently for me, I've been using old 32-bit DAWs to make music, and it's so much better. It's just so much better. Reverb is so strange. You can put reverb on a sound and then have it so you can hardly hear the reverb at all, and then when the tracks are all running, it can bring the whole thing to life. That's true. I don't know if I've got like a specific reverb topic. Let me publish it again. Buses. Yeah, there's a lot in here. It could be broken down in different ways. buses. Some producers like to have complex routing setups with multiple buses, drums, bass, music effects, vocals. When it comes to balancing out multiple stems, this can have an advantage over just all the tracks into the final master. But I'm not really a fan of too much busing and side chaining elements or tracks to other tracks. I think it's really important to develop your own systems and methods for your production and not fall into a trap of thinking because you have seen or been told to do something any kind of way that that's the right way. There's loads of producers on all kinds of platforms that have never had any kind of real musical success saying they know the way things should be done. And I would caution being any more complicated than you need to be when it comes to Mixdown. So that's fucking true, man. Well done, TC. Yeah, I mean, I've known producers that have just done things a certain way because they've seen someone else do it, and it's not the way. Clipping tracks, plugins is not good. Oh, clipping, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Let's just say clipping is not good. Clipping channels is not good. Yeah, that's better. I would say that avoiding red lights at the track stage will really help you to have a good mix. Clipping the master channel is fine, kinda, in my opinion, but clipping in plugins and on tracks has a bunch of issues, especially in Ableton. If you like the sound of the track that is clipping, put a clipping plugin on it and turn it down. Yeah. Testing. I think it's always it always takes a good few goes to nail a mix. Yeah, like 9 usually for me. Version 9. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 1. Then you're really doing the good thing. Testing on multiple sound systems for me is a great help feeling it out. Some places I recommend listening to your mixdowns are on a mobile phone speaker, in your earpods, in the car, listening to the tune with your producer friends. Yeah, that's listening to tunes with other people, or even sending a tune to somebody and imagining them listening to it. Like, I sent a bunch of tunes to DJ Hype today, and I was like, yeah, you're not going to like these. The writing phase might not be over. If you're having problems with mixing down your tune, it might be that the writing phase is just not over yet. Maybe you need to roll back and add more elements, change some stuff, move some things around. There's a 3D video maker that I'm inspired by called Ian Hubert, who did this talk on world building. Oh, I even linked it. That's really cool. Is that actually linked? Yeah. Come on, bruv. He says that when people ask him how he makes amazing videos, he says, don't get to the point where you think you're just done yet. This is massive for me. And links back to Skrillex having 53 versions of a tune. I get sent so many half-done tunes. and I can hear that they just needed another 3 weeks work. When I did this project where I did a tune in a week and then put it on this website, the one I'm working on, for download. You can get it on the Secret Dub Club, and I wasn't done. But having the deadline was really good, but I was not finished with the tunes, and it was really tough when I was like, well, I have to bounce out and master it, but I'm not finished yet. But sometimes, you know, maybe that's the thing. Maybe you should be finished with it. Right, so that's Mixdowns. I think there's something else I could say in there about back in the day, they had producers only had 3 channels, and it really was, and they didn't have EQs. You were lucky if you had a 4-track tape machine, and so just literally the balance. I didn't even really say about so yeah, the balance was just everything back in the day. And actually, when it comes to recording drums and stuff, you're almost doing a mix down in the room before you even get to the microphone. I don't know how I would articulate that. Let's add that to the things I want to amend. So amendments, Mixdowns. Recording drums is a mix down before you even get to the mic, and back in the day, producers only had very few channels and no effects, and so balance was everything. Yeah. Alright, cool. That is 1 hour of YouTube video. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, because I've done a little bit on this and might pick it up tomorrow, I guess, maybe. So yeah, head over to the Academy if you want to read this, or if you give a shit, or this is just ASMR in the background. There's a few little gems of information in here. It's always a good thing. This is my favourite kind of video to watch, I think. Just people just talking and thinking. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another extremely boring studio video. Big up the scene. Peace.